Ancient India. Ancient India is located in Asia. As you can see from the picture, it is a peninsula surrounded on three sides by water. The Indus River Valley runs through the Indian subcontinent. The people rely heavily on this river for food and water, just like Mesopotamia and Egypt. The Hindu Kush and the Himalaya mountain ranges formed a barrier that limited India's contact with other nations. You can see here on the map they're found in North India, between India and China. This isolation led to the development of India's distinct and unique culture. The three zones of India are known as the Gangetic Plain, contains the Indus and Ganges river valleys. It's very fertile. Then you have the Deccan Plateau, which is sparsely populated and dry. The Ganges Plain is in the greens, and the Deccan Plateau is in yellow on the map. Sparsely means hardly anybody lives there. The coastal plains is where they have the monsoons, the seasonal rains that provide water for the farmers. The seas are also used for fishing and for trading. The monsoons were seasonal winds. The summer monsoons pick up moisture over the Indian Ocean and drench the coastal plains with rain. The farmers rely on this. Unfortunately, if the monsoons come too quickly and too heavy, they can cause massive mudslides that can wipe out entire villages and cause thousands upon thousands of dollars of destruction. How do people in India still rely on their geography today? Take a moment and think about that. In Part B, we'll talk about the revolutions in India and how the people changed over time. The Neolithic Revolution in India is basically noted for the ancient cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Okay, these are the twin cities of the early civilizations in the Indus River Valley, right around 2600 BCE. Between 2000 and 1500 BCE, nomadic Aryans began migrating onto the Indian subcontinent, and they gave up their nomadic lifestyle to settle in villages and to farm. And you know already about the whole nomads going into farmers earlier from the Neolithic Revolution. With the new farming and trading comes a new economic system. All right, most of it was based in bartering and on trade, very similar to that of Mesopotamia and Egypt. In the beginning, the political empire was the Mweras. All right, from 321 BCE, the Mwera Empire forged most of India, controlled most of India, and the most honored of the emperors was Ashoka. And you can see their empire stretched all throughout the blue, throughout ancient India. After slaughtering enemies to conquer the Deccan Plateau, Ashoka turned to Buddhism and rejected violence. He actually turned into a very peaceful emperor. He spread his religion throughout the region. That's why Buddhism is found through many parts of Southeast Asia. And he was religious tolerant, which meant he did not punish people for how they prayed or what religion they were. He allowed them to pray however they wanted to. Years later, you have the Guptas that take over. Now, the Gupta Empire united much of India. Under their strong central government, India enjoyed a golden age, and a golden age is a period of great cultural achievement, and normally there's no wars, because it's hard to be working on great science and art and architecture and music if you're fighting a war. So a golden age of any time period is a time period of peace, and during the Guptas, that was a very important time in ancient India, and you can see some of the beautiful buildings there and on your slide. During this peaceful time of learning Arabic numbers, which are the numbers we use here today, the concept of zero and the decimal system was created. They also wrote literature, had medicine, and religious philosophy was advanced under the Guptas. The beginnings of religion in India started off with the Aryans, came the Vedas, which were a collection of hymns and prayers and chants and religious rituals, the oldest documented in the world. Out of the Vedas, we get Hinduism, which emerged from a mixture of all of the different religions during this time period that were in India and the surrounding areas. The most important gods were Brahman, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. It was a polytheistic religion, those three being the most important gods, but depending what part of India you go to today, some areas have as many as 200 individual gods that they pray to. The Hindu beliefs were reincarnation, the idea of being reborn, that your soul moves on. The cow is sacred in India. They also believe in karma, which is all the actions of a person's life affect their fate in the next life. So if you do bad things are going to happen to you. You do good things will happen to you. They also believe in dharma, a person's religious and moral duty, meaning it's your duty or your job to be a good person, to be, in your guys' cases, good, kids to your parents, to be good students to your teachers. That's your job. Hindu belief system basically shaped everything in society, but specifically the caste system. The caste system was a rigid class system in which you were born into and you were stuck there your entire life. So if you were born into, let's say, a shoemaker's home, that you were going to be a shoemaker, that your kids were going to be shoemakers, and that was it. There was no changing your life. It was already made up. Whatever level you were born on, you were going to die on. And you had to marry and associate with people who were on the same level as you. Now, the Brahmins were on the top of the caste system. They were considered closest to the god Brahman, or the deity Brahman. They had strict rules that protected them from the lower class. The untouchables were the bottom of the caste system. They were designated with the dirtiest jobs of life, including cleaning out the sewers, cleaning up the trash, everything that today we really don't want those jobs. And these jobs were also the worst back then because you could catch a lot of really bad diseases and illnesses from doing these jobs. So unfortunately, many of the untouchables were not healthy. Now, Buddhism began with Siddhartha Gautama. The Buddhists eventually spread across the Himalaya mountains and into China. This was done through cultural diffusion. And you can see this through the map. There are two different types of Buddhism, the Theravada and the Mahayana. Okay. Buddhist beliefs, they have the Four Noble Truths, which the core is suffering is caused by hatred and desires. And then you have the Eightfold Path, which is the path on how to overcome those virtues. And then you have Nirvana, which is becoming one with the universe. And that's your goal. They don't have heaven, they have Nirvana. That's their end date, what they want to be when they cross over.